Okay. Well, tonight we're going to go over editing and formatting Word documents, in-class exercise, and then your homework discussion. And so, if you would, for me real quick, if you click on the Lessons tab, let's go to Week 3. And at the very top, there's a design.docx document right there. If you go ahead and click on that and open it up, as soon as it opens up on your computer into Microsoft Word, I need you to save it to your desktop immediately, because by default it's going to be opening up as a read-only file until you save it to your desktop. And so as soon as you click on this link, it's going to take a few seconds to launch it, and then it should by default open it up into Word, and then you can click on the Office button and save it onto your desktop and leave it the same name. It's fine. Give you a few moments to do that. No, click on that. It'll actually launch by itself. See the link right there? It says design.docx. Click on that. Yeah, and then just click OK. Yep. And then it should open it up immediately into Office. Word 2007. There you go. And then as soon as it opens up successfully, you'll notice at the top it'll say read only. You'll need to click on the Office button and save it, and then click on Desktop and click OK, or click Save, so it's on your desktop immediately. There you go. Give it a few moments to do that. Do what? Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the left, desktop. And then, there you go. Anyone else need help? Okay. So kind of keep that in front of you. We're going to be going to it here in just a moment. Here's what the document should look like right here. Here's what it's going to look like before you leave, with a few variances. Okay? I'll let you have some playing around with it and do what you want to with it. Okay, so go ahead and look at the discussion here, PowerPoint. So objective of this tutorial was to look at spelling and grammar within Word, selecting and deleting text, moving text within a document, finding and replacing text, margins, aligning paragraphs using what's called the format painter, emphasizing bullets, numbering, bolding, italicizing, changing fonts, sizes and font types, changing a document theme, and then previewing a document. We're not going to print, but previewing a document will do. So, spell checker we've already talked a little bit about and kind of played with it a little bit. We went over custom dictionary, I believe, last week, how that works and how to add words to a custom dictionary. But basically, whenever you have a document already open, like the one you have in front of you, and you put your cursor anywhere in the document, it's going to begin spell checking that document immediately. As soon as you click on, in fact, the one that you have in front of you, click on that right now. Put your cursor right in front of the P in Pemberley. Click on Review on the tab. And then there's an ABC spelling and grammar on the very left side. Click on that. Immediately the first sentence is going to be highlighted for a fragmented sentence. I'm going to let you figure out how to unfragment it for just a second before I tell you the way I did it, but there's multiple ways to unfragment this sentence. It says here, if you are intimidated by the prospect of decorating your home, you definitely not alone. So how would you correct that? Anybody have an option? Yes. There you go. You are. Anybody else? That's a good one. That'll work. Yes? Are? Aren't. A-R-N apostrophe T? Okay?
I got only Pemberley, I don't have that skill.
Do I know?
I have only one word for spelling, that's very hard.
Oh, that's the Pemberley one. You'll want to, if you guys, did you guys have the Pemberley one come up first? Yeah. You did, okay. On that one, to just ignore it for right now. Ignore that one. Hit ignore once. There you go. Then you're where I'm at. Yeah, we're going to come back to that one if that one came up. And then you can just go ahead and put you are or you aren't. You aren't definitely alone. All right. So if I put in here you are definitely line alone, notice it corrects it as far as, it's not a fragmented anymore. And then there's a change button here. Also, one thing I did go over here, there is an explain button which explains what a fragmented sentence is if you wanted to go and look at what one was. So I'm going to go and click the change button. Next it goes to the elements. Does it go that on your guys's? Elements. And go ahead and correct that and give you a suggestion. We're going to go ahead and keep that suggestion, which is elements down here. All we do is click change. It'll go to the next one, English, which should be capsed. E in English should be caps. We're going to do a change on that. And then it should say spelling and grammar check is complete. Now, if you scroll to the very top of your document, mine was already added to the dictionary earlier. Pemberley should still be underlined, is it not?
No.
It's not, okay. It's okay then? Okay. Well, I was going to say, what we could have done is add that to our custom dictionary, and it would have been not popped up again. So, all right, so you can see how spelling and grammar can be corrected. You can skip also grammar suggestions, like if it's your last name, it's capturing, or sometimes Word does say it's a fragmented sentences, and maybe it's not. Okay, so again, it's just it goes back to last week, like I talked about proofing, having somebody else proof it that maybe is a little better at English than you are, and don't feel bad about asking for help on that. Okay, now you can also hit ignore all, which we didn't do, which would ignore everything, every instance. Like say for instance, the one of the words that came up, if it was in multiple places throughout, we could just hit ignore all, and it would ignore all those words in every instance of that word within the document. Because the way spell check works is it starts wherever your cursor is all the way into the document. You can also type directly into the document and resume. Already mentioned this. You can add an unrecognized word like the first word in the document to the dictionary. And then when it's finally done, it'll tell you it's complete. Pretty simple. Pretty straightforward. Now, last week I went over a few shortcut keys, but this is another one. When it comes to deleting words or moving words, this first talks about deleting words. The control key in Windows does a lot of stuff. Anytime you use a control key, it allows you to select or deselect objects in Windows. Does that make sense? So in Word, the objects are words or letters, right? And so if we go back to our document here, and we want the one after U. So we want this one. Press and hold the control key, and you'll have to double click on definitely. If you press and hold the control key and just press once, remember it selects a sentence. You double click twice, and I'm left double clicking the mouse, it'll select definitely. And what's the other one here I'm going to do? What is it? Yeah, triple click. Yeah, triple click will actually do the entire paragraph. If I double click, I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do on the next one here. Let me look. Oh, especially. Especially, that's what it is. So we want definitely and especially. Okay? So by holding the control key and double clicking on definitely and double clicking on especially, it's highlighted both words. Then I can just hit the delete key on my keyboard, which is found to the right part of your keyboard. If you hit the delete key, they disappear. They've been deleted. Now, how would I undo that? What shortcut control can I use that we've learned? Control Z, right. I'll do Control Z, and that'll come back. All right? But I'm going to go ahead and hit the delete key and leave those out for right now. Continue on here. So moving text is the next portion. Selecting text you want to move, which is real popular within Word or any Office app. You just press and hold down the mouse button until the drag and drop pointer appears. Then you drag your selected text where you want it to go. So what this is saying in the second bullet is you select the portion of text you want by selecting it with the mouse, right? Then press and hold it, left press and hold it on your mouse, and then move it to where you want it to go, and then release your mouse. All right? And anytime I tell you to press or release, it's always the left mouse button. Okay? So press and hold the mouse button until you select your text, drag it to where you want it to go. You'll see here in just a second, there'll be a dotted insertion point as you're moving it to where you want it to go, and then you can release it. Okay? So on this one here, if we go after, I believe, deep on boom, we don't have to be exact on this one, by the way. I'm just going to go select something here. Let's see, it's after the word order. And tables. It might be down a little further. Here it is. It's on the second page. On the second page, boop, we want to move. We're just going to play with it right now. This sentence right here on the second page, to maximize your design statement, consider moving your purchases in the following order. We're just going to do this for practice. Once you select it with your mouse, you can either, well, the easiest way is going to be just put your cursor before the T and 2, and then drag till you've selected it. And then you'll notice my background is blue. I can left click and hold it. Now if you notice on the overhead, as I'm dragging it, you can see the mouse turns the little box underneath it, and then the cursor moves as I'm going down. I'm going to go ahead and move it right here before the W in while and release it. And then do a Control Z to put it back, just to show you how it works, okay? So again, selecting whatever it is you're wanting to move, clicking and holding it, and then moving it and releasing it moves that text. Pretty simple. Now, the clipboard we've talked about already in here quite a bit, but this kind of adds to it. Anytime you cut anything or delete anything in Windows, it's going to put it in a clipboard until what occurs. Remember me telling you this last week? You can do a Control Z or a Control Undo until your last what? Save, right. So just be careful. You've heard everybody tell you probably by now, and myself including, to save a lot as you're working, which is good. One of the things I tell students to do is not only that, but when you start a new revision of a document like this one that you're working on, what I always do is I'll save it as a new document each time with a different name. And so what I'll basically do is this. On your document, the one that you've been working on, right, just go ahead and go up to the Office button, hit Save As, click on the Office button, go to Save As, and then on the front end of that Word, whatever the word is, I'll go ahead and put in today's date, 09/07/11, space, and then save. And then each time that I have a revision, maybe within that day, I could also put times in there if I wanted to. Yes?
By putting numbers in the front versus the end before the prefix, isn't that going to change the sort order, or are your documents going to appear together since it's an alphanumeric sort?
If you do it always like this with the 09, or if you do the, what is it, the month, day, year, you're right. It should be actually probably what, year?
Usually use text first and then a numeric one.
Yeah, I always do it by,
Together.
yeah, I always do it by year. That's the way I've always done it. And I technically don't do it like this one. I'll usually do it like year first, then month, then day. So it'd be technically, I guess it'd be 11/09/07. Is that right? Yeah, that's how I normally do it. That when I view it as a detailed view in the folder, it does sort it correctly then by date at least. But I know what you're saying too. Yeah.
When you're looking at through Windows applets,
Yep.
that's going to be, then you're going to say, well, wait a minute, there was another one. Where is it?
Exactly.
It's at the top of the list versus the original, which is further down.
Right.
in the letter.
Exactly. Well, I always start with a date so my original document will have a date. So it won't just be like design start or design, it'll be whatever the date is, space, then the name of the document. So that's a good point though. Yeah, if you're going to have the date, name, always keep it that way throughout, from original to all your modified documents, all your change set documents as well. Because it's going to be easy to sort it too that way.
I tried to save it here. He said he's refusing that. I don't know.
Do I know?
I tried to save it as he said.
Uh-huh.
He said the file name location is one of his not file.
Click OK. You put dashes in there. You can't put, or you put slashes. You can't put slashes in the name.
Oh.
Yeah, just like mine, just put the numbers only. Yeah, Word won't let you put some special characters you cannot put in the name, or Windows in general won't let you put slashes in the name. Okay, so we've done that. Now, cutting and pasting, let's go ahead and select some, we're going to select some text here and cut it and then paste it in another area. And we're just going to play around with it. There's no rhyme or reason for where we're going here on this one. So let's just go ahead and on the first page, I want us to go to this paragraph that says for the next few weeks and highlight that entire paragraph. For the next few weeks, that entire paragraph. Then you can right-click on that paragraph and select cut. All right, right-click and cut. Now the shortcut for cut is actually the T word. Okay, the T letter, not T word, T letter is a shortcut for cut. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It gets rid of it. So when I cut something in Word, it's going to actually keep it in my clipboard to paste it somewhere else. So now I'm going to go to the second page. Go ahead and go to the very second page at the very bottom of the document. We're going to add this to the bottom of your document. So put your cursor on the very end of PFI period, hit enter to where your cursor's blinking. Then I want you to do a Control V as in Valentine. Control V as in Valentine should paste that text you just cut. Now let's do a Control Z twice to bring it back, actually 3 times to bring it back to where it was originally. And then let's do a Control S to save where we're at so far. Control S will save it. Okay. Now, one of the things it shows here in the overhead is the clipboard within Windows. Let me show you here. View my clipboards. Speed bump. Should be in the view menu. I think I've got to be in this. Here it is right here. Up here in the Home tab, there's a clipboard that's hidden by default. If you see on the overhead, I've got actually 24 items in my clipboard right here. And it'll show you the most recent item that you've just used. And if you wanted to collapse that, you just click this and it'll collapse that out of view. I really don't use this much, but it is there for you, I guess, if you wanted it. Yes?
Does clipboard still have a maximum size that you can
Not that I know
you
of.
have a graphics file?
Yeah.
No matter what it looks like, but it's been over-edited.
Yeah.
It's become this massive whale of
It might have. I have not reached it, though. It might have, though. I don't work a lot with graphic files anymore on Windows, but
Just an example.
yeah.
Somebody could copy 68 pages, but
Right.
the graphics buried with it.
Right. I think it actually does. It probably is
Used to get it.
directly, yeah, to how much memory that system might have, I'm guessing. It would tell you running low on memory or reached.
Current Windows use send it out to the hard drive as a temp file.
Exactly. It might do something like that. Right.
Way over the size that
Yeah, because I think since XP Service Pack 2, there's really no limitations. It's limitations on your physical memory, and then it starts using your hard drive probably for that.
it's a pseudo RAM.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's go on to the next one, which is finding replacing. Now, I told you last week this is real. I think I used the example of a part in a business that it's changed, and you have like thousands of them in a document. You can just do a find and replace of that part. The find and replace dialog button is on the Home tab, and we'll use that in just a second. You can type the characters you want to find, and then also the characters you want to replace. And the example it gives here is, for example, if we do a match case to insert a replacement text with which means upper and lowercase match. For example, if we place a text containing Pemberley Interiors, it would also ensure that the word inserted has caps, uppercase P and uppercase I. And we could replace all within the document. And so basically on this one, it has, if we go to the first page and first paragraph, PFI, we're going to highlight PFI just so it'll be in our, I just want you to highlight it for me. I'm going to show you why in just a second. Highlight PFI, and that's first paragraph. And then we're going to go to the replace over on the right where it says find, replace, select. Once you do replace, and then there's a more button here. Everybody see that? Click on your more button. And you're going to replace with, PFI is going to be replaced with Pemberley Furniture and Interiors. Interiors, I can spell. All right, Pemberley. So every instance of PFI is going to be replaced with Pemberley Furniture and Interiors. I want to do a match case. All right, and that's it. So PFI, Pemberley Furniture Interiors. I checkmark match case. It's going to search down by default, which is fine. Now I want to do replace all. It says it replaced 2 words that had PFI Word is reaching the end of the document. 2 replacements were made. Do you want to continue searching at the beginning? No. Okay? Now, if I exit out of this, I should now have Pemberley Furniture Interiors have now been replaced, PFI has now been replaced by Pemberley Furniture and Interiors throughout the document. So again, just to recap on that one, what I generally do if I'm doing a search and replace, I'll highlight what I'm wanting to search for first in the document, then go to the replace second. It'll actually put that in the text box for you on the find what. You can also do this, which we could have done, went back to the document and highlighted Pemberley Furniture and Interiors and just pasted it in here to save us making sure we don't have errors. And then did a match case, replace all. That's it. Okay. So find and replace is used a lot within Word to do what we just did, to easily find and replace items and replace them with the corrected text. Now margins is the next one. Margins is used a lot, and I think I told you last week that some companies actually are real exact on margins. Word does have preset margins. You can also, within Word though, change margins by the selected text that you've selected. So within a document, you can do a whole document margin change. You can do a selected document margin change as well. So if you're doing a whole document, you want to make sure no text is selected. You go to the page setup group in the page layout tab. It'll hit the dialog launcher. It'll have some defaults we'll look at in just a second, but I'll have you guys change it to something besides some defaults. Once you change the margins the way you want them to be, you'll apply it to the whole document. Click OK. You can also, to choose from groups of predefined margins, you'll see in just a second there's a page layout tab in the ribbon that has a whole bunch of different predefined margins. So let's go to our document, and you want to go to the page layout tab, and there's a margins button right here. Go ahead and click on the icon itself that says margins right here. Just click on it once. You'll notice when you click on it once, it has some predefined. Now mine has custom on there because I've been playing with mine already tonight, but yours should have normal, narrow, moderate, wide, mirrored, Office 2003 default, right? Go all the way down to the very bottom where it says custom margins. Here's where you can customize your margins to your liking. All right? We're going to keep the top and bottom at 1. I want the left kept at 1, but I'm going to move the right to 1.5. Okay? And portrait orientation should be stay the same. Normal pages, and apply to the whole document. Now if you click on that drop down at the bottom where it says whole document, you'll notice it says from this point forward. So you could actually have 2 or 3 pages of margins such and such, and then pages 4 on have different margins. Okay? Depending on where your cursor is located at when you do it. But we're going to do whole document. Click OK. And now our margins have been set. Do a Control S to save it. So that's margins changes. Now, I've already showed you this on the page layout. I don't really use the custom one because most of the places I've worked at in the past have, or I don't use the predefined ones. Most of the places have custom margins that they want you to put in, and it's usually a 1 period whatever, 1.37 or 1.58, you know, some weird margin that they want you. And usually it's because they put the documents in a 3-hole punch or in some type of folders for storage, and they have to have certain margins, or letterheads as well. So say you have a letterhead that the first 2 or 1.5 inches is letterhead, you would have an 1.5 inch margin at the top then for letterhead, for the logo or something. And maybe you might have some stuff on the letterhead at the left, maybe you have an 1.5 inches on the left as well. So pretty basic on the margins, nothing real hard to remember there. Now, alignment, there's 4 different types of alignments by default within text. You can do left alignment, right alignment, center, justified. And I'm going to kind of fly through these next 2 slides. And then after we go through the slides, I'm going to actually go to your Word document. We're going to really play around with formatting on that document to kind of clean it up a little bit. So we'll just go on the overhead for just a second on the slides and then go back to your document. So anytime you're on alignment, you've got, anytime you highlighted text, you're going to have that mini toolbar that shows up and be able to do a quick alignment. Say you want to center it, right justify, left justify, or just justify it. Indenting, when you indent a paragraph, you move the entire paragraph to the right. It also has what's called indent markers will show up. Hanging indent is all the lines except the first line of the paragraph are indented. Right indent, all the lines of the paragraph are indented from the right. So in this example here, they have an indented paragraph here. And then this can be indented later and listed. We'll actually do that together. Come back to it. Format Painter is the next one that we'll do. Format Painter is really used a lot in Word to say you have a section of your document that you formatted with a certain font, size, and color. Okay? And maybe you italicized it. You can copy it with a Format Painter, copy that format, and paste it in other places in your document real easy. That way you don't have to remember, okay, what size was it, what font was it, what color, all that stuff. The Format Painter will remember that. The one thing you want to steer clear of Format Painter is with numbers or bullets, especially with numbers. If you have a number list that you're using a Format Painter with, say it's a numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you use a Format Painter to copy it, and then you go to another section in your document and paste that format, it'll carry on the numbers. It'll go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That makes sense? And so you want to stay away from numbers or even bullets using Format Painter. But Format Painter is good when you're wanting to copy font size, font type, italicize, bold, color, maybe even background of the selected font. So those are a number of ways you can use it. And we'll play with that in a second. Bullets and numbers, once you select a portion of text, you then can convert those to bullets and numbers, adding a bullet or number before to make it easier to read, make a list, which we'll do here. Bolding, italicizing, underlining, same. Highlight the text, and from your home tab you can do bolding, italicizing, underline, or you can use a mini toolbar. And then shortcut keys. Let's talk about these for a second. You can use these, which I love shortcut keys. For bolding, Control B. For underlining, Control U. For italicizing, Control I. Bless you. Here's a new one. We talked a little bit about this last week. If you want to use a single line spacing within a paragraph that you've highlighted, you can do Control 1, and it'll convert that to a single line spacing. Control 2 would be double space lines. Select an entire document. We've already went over some of these. Control A to select everything in a document. Control X we've not used. That's a cut selected text. Control X. Copy, Control C. Pasting, Control V. Undoing, Control Z. These are all popular control commands that definitely I recommend using. And as you use them, you'll remember them and use some more than others. Lastly, it talks about themes, which I don't really use a lot in Word. I stay away from themes, but you might like them, and it might be good for, like, maybe, I don't know, newsletters or something. But a document theme controls, like, families of fonts, colors, and other visual effects. So if you're doing a lot of newsletters or posters in Word, you might like this. You might really, it's got some cool things to stay color friendly. Does that make sense? A lot of documents I use in work or here at college even, and maybe you're the same, don't really use a lot of color. It's mostly black and white, okay? But themes do have colors, font size, type, all that good stuff that you can apply. It's in the font group on the Home tab we'll look at in a second. So different themes are applied that you can use. It'll actually, whatever theme you're in, it'll show up on the drop down of the fonts family. So change a document theme, it's in the page layout. Yes?
And then how is Format Painter different than theme?
How is Format Painter different than what? It's total. Well, you'll see in a second. It's easier to show you probably than explain it. So document theme. Each document theme is designed to convey a specific look and feel. On the page layout tab, you can click on the themes button, which we'll look at in a second. So on the page layout tab, you got a themes button, which has a whole bunch of different themes, and we'll play around with them. You guys can see all the different ones that are out there. We've looked at them a little bit. And then finally, previewing a document. Office button, print preview. And you always want to do that prior to printing a document or even saving a document. A lot of times it gives you a nice snapshot of what that document looks like. So I'm going to scroll back a little bit here and start at, boom, we did margins. I'm going to go right into aligning. Yeah, let's go into aligning text. So we're going to show you how to do all these things, and I'm going to have you guys kind of format the document the way you want to in just a second. But before I have you format the way you want to, I'm going to show you how to do some stuff. The first thing is aligning text. So, for instance, on this document here, say on this first line, Pemberley Furniture and Interiors, and this catchphrase, getting the look you want, we'll say we want both of these centered, all right? And so basically I can highlight both of these lines, go to my Home tab, and hit center, and it's going to center both of those lines, okay? And we'll say, for instance, I want to take this Pemberley Furniture Interiors, I want to blow it up to 28 point, I want to change the font to a Cambria font, and on this getting the look you want, I want it to be, use Control-I to italicize, and maybe down to 11-point font, and I do not want it bolded, something like that, okay? So when you're highlighting text that you want to, say, format, here's an example of some. I've showed you centered, right? Let's do another one. Let's look at this paragraph, okay? Say we want our paragraphs, our document to kind of, like a newspaper. You know how the columns in a newspaper or magazine, it's edge to edge on the columns, the text is, and it's fully justified. Say we want that kind of look for our document. Pretty easy to do. You just highlight the text, you go up here and justify it, okay? Now it's not going to take this last line and justify it all the way to the end, but it will with text that's fairly close. It'll actually justify it all the way to the end. Same thing with this first paragraph. If I justify that, notice how it spreads it out a little bit. This next paragraph. So any large paragraphs in your document, you can practice real quick and do a justification. So it just makes it look visually more appealing to have it justified on types of, information about, in this case, a company.
So if we selected all are justified, would it be the same way?
Well, yeah, if you did a Control-A and selected everything, you wouldn't want to do that because there's so much individual items in here. But you could do that. Yeah, definitely you could. Yeah. So once you go through, you pick and choose your how you want things formatted. Then, this is what I suggest. So we'll go ahead and play with this real quick. I'll kind of give you some suggestions. Heading files within letters or documents, you want to be a minimum of 14-point font, headings. Like this one right here, ask yourself some questions, that's a heading. You can do 14-point font. I'm going to leave it at the same, Cambria body. But let me do this, because I'm going to do the format painter real quick. I'm going to highlight this font. I'm going to leave it at Cambria, 14 point. I'm going to change the color to whatever color you want to. I'm going to do a blue color, I guess. That's fine. I want to do bold, Control B. All right, so I like that. I'll say I've worked around. I kind of like the way that looks. So I'm going to use a format painter, and I want to apply this change here, this font style, color, and everything, to pick a style. And we'll just do pick a style right now. Yeah, just pick a style. We'll just do that one. That's fine. So let's do this. Up at the top on the Home tab, double-click on the Format Painter for me. Double-click on the Format Painter for me. You won't see it do anything yet, except your cursor should change to a paintbrush with a little cursor to the right. You see that? And what you want to do is take your cursor and where mine is, I'll left-click in front of the A and drag it all the way to the end of that, like this. Okay, and then you'll notice my paintbrush goes away. I've highlighted, clicked and dragged, and highlighted the portion that I want to copy with the paintbrush, with the paint format painter. Now I'm going to go to the section I want to paste it to. Pick a style. Again, notice my cursor is still a brush, and it by the way, by double-clicking on this, it'll stay a brush until we're finished. Until we go up here and click on this to deselect the format painter. So I'm going to highlight that. Now I've pasted that style on pick a style. Now to deselect the format painter, all I need is go up here and click once. Done. Okay, I've now copied a format with the format painter brush and then pasted it. You see how that works? Now, if you just click on the format painter once only, and say I go down here and select this again, well, let's do another one. I'll do bold and something there. Maybe I'll do an underline. Okay, so I'm going to click this once, highlight this. All right, you'll notice it's gone, because it says here copying format from one place to the other. Double click this button to apply the same formatting in multiple places. Now, if I go here, so double clicking is what's going to cause it to stay. You want to make sure and double click. You can do Control-Shift-C also, I believe, is a shortcut as well. So let me go back and do that one. So if I do, I'll highlight this, underline, italicize maybe, Control-Shift-C. I always do it with the double click. I never do the single click, so. Okay, double click. There we go. That's how it works. Okay. It's kind of tricky to get it at first, but if you can just remember double clicking it, that's how I do it. Okay. So let's do this. On this one right here, just to show you how easy this is. Remember I showed you to stay away from Format Painter on number list? I'd want to take this list here where it says ask yourself about the following questions about each place. What was the color scheme? What was the room colored, cluttered or space? Was the furniture made of wood? Yada yada. These four. I'm just going to highlight these 4 lines and I'm going to make them numbers. Okay? You notice how it breaks it apart from the paragraph, and So we pretend we worked on this document. We worked with the CEO and all of our group. We have this nice document. Now we're handing it off to you to format it, basically. All right? So let's see if there's anything here. I want to apply the indentation. Oh, indentation. Let me show you that one. That's a good one. If you wanted to use the indentation portion, indenting the paragraph, let me show you real quick on that. Let's do it on, let's see. Let's go to this one here. We're going to get that one forced indentation, but I'm going to do another one, like say maybe this one right here. I'm going to highlight this whole paragraph here. I'm going to go to paragraph. And you can do by default, it's going to be none on indentation, but you can do what's called a first line or a hanging indentation, which is going to indent after the first line, basically, of your paragraph by doing that. I'll show you that again. Just doing a special hanging, or you can do first line. First line gives a default kind of you guys are used to looking at for paragraphs, which looks like this here, okay, which you might like for your document. You can also, within a document, say we wanted to stay away from numbers on this one and just do an indentation. Can actually highlight this at the top. There is a paragraph indent right there. I could do that as well. And you can actually do that anywhere within your document. You just have to make sure. The trick on indentation is this. All right. If I do this on an indentation, let me show you something. I'm going to take this word and I'm going to do a shift enter, which remember forces it to be a single space. Highlight. Let's try this right here. There we go. Notice how I highlighted the middle of this paragraph, and say I wanted to indent just this part of it, it won't let you because it's part of a paragraph. It sees it as part of a paragraph. So if I try to indent in the middle of a paragraph, it will not let me do it. What I'd have to do is break it up by maybe doing this right here. Then I could go in, and then I could use the indentation. Does that make sense? So you got to break up the paragraph before you can use it. Now, you say, how do you know where the paragraphs are? You can click on this show paragraph, remember, show paragraph icon to show what paragraphs are where they're actually located at. All right. So by clicking on it now and created a new paragraph symbol here. Created a new paragraph here. All right. So let me show you my finished document here. The one I did. Yours going to be different. I want you to play around with it. The one thing I want to make note is I did apply a theme to this one on this one right here, where people who are enjoying spending time thinking about that one. Let me show you what I did on that one. I wanted to highlight it a little bit different. They actually have a note in there on that one. Let's see, where is that at? People who enjoy spending time thinking. Here it is. Put that to the next page. Okay. See this right here where it has a note? Note that you probably will want to combine style with your house, for example, a formal living room and a casual family room. I highlighted that, and then I went over here to the style, and I chose one of these here that I liked. That one right there, I believe it was. Yeah. The subtle, it's called subtle something. Can't read the rest of it. This one right here. Subtle emphasis is what it's called. Subtle emphasis. I did do that one just to kind of bring it out from the paragraph because it's a note, kind of like a, you know, somebody giving a side note in a paragraph type thing.
You have to click on style.
Yeah, this is actually a style within a paragraph I selected. I just highlighted the sentence. You don't have to do that. I'm just saying that's what I did. Okay? To get that format, that's what I did. The other thing I think I told you I don't use is the themes, but themes are actually found, go back here, to your page layout. You have theme, background, watercolors, whatever you want, which I don't really like. But anyway, you can play with these two, kind of see what they look like. They definitely change the look and feel. Like this one here doesn't look too bad, this verb theme. Might look pretty cool, I don't know. So I'm going to let you play with it for about 5 minutes, go through and format your document. I just want to come around and look at it, see if you have any questions on what you want to do. There is no wrong thing to do, by the way. I just want you to kind of play with it. Creating list, formatting, using your format painter, numbered list, bulleted list, find and replace, whatever it is you want to do. Okay? So I'll just kind of walk around and see if I can help you real quick. Just have fun with it, and make sure and do a Control S periodically to save your work.
Now how to do this numbering? And why is this stuff?
Oh, you might have just used a format painter on that one, maybe, because it looks like you've got bold there, right? But this one looks like it's not bolded. There you go. Now you're okay. In fact, that whole sentence probably needs to be bolded. There, that looks better, doesn't it? Yeah.
And how can we do the numbering?
How can you do the numbering?
Yeah.
Take out these numbers here that you put in manually. Highlight all of them.
Okay.
And then up here at the top, click numbers
Oh, good.
in the paragraph. You can also do bullets. You can change the number type from the 1, 2, 3 to whatever you want. Maybe you want ABC. Maybe you want Roman numerals. So. Oh, and on some of these lines, you might, I guess, want to format. I think I did like centering mostly on the top, but you know, you might want to do right justification possibly on some of them, just to kind of play around with it. Want to make a list or something with that? Yeah, just double click. Good. Boy, I know you're depressed and down, but we're going to let y'all a little earlier tonight. I want to go over the take-home, what you're going to be doing. Before I do, though, let's talk about your grades. Somebody had some questions. A few of you had questions on how to access your grades. I went over it the very first night, but I've not went over it since. When you go into the course, there, you guys should have at the bottom here where it says My Grades. Go ahead and, tonight before you leave, if you wouldn't mind, maybe clicking on that, making sure everything looks good to you. There was a couple instances where some quizzes some people weren't getting the highest grade. You were supposed to get the highest grade out of the 3, I believe. And so if you see anything like that, let me know and I can fix that for you. But anytime I email you to tell you grades are updated, that's where you can see your grades at any point. I wanted to make note of that. So here's a design document you guys used tonight in class. The Word tutorial is the PowerPoint and also the review information. We won't go over that. You know what that is. Then the quiz. Make sure and take that. And just a recap on due dates in here. It is next Tuesday. Each Tuesday is when things are due, except for the very last week. I believe I have you guys turning things on Sunday just so I can get your grade in. So, and then the project is pretty much like what you did tonight, but a little bit different. I'll go ahead and click on it to show you and then show you the solution file in just a second. So this project's going to have you create a flyer for an upcoming informational meeting regarding the efforts to create a rail train between your town and a neighboring one. This flyer will be reviewed by your supervisor before it's being posted, printed and posted. So it tells you to create a brand new document, tells you to enter in this text. Can you copy and paste it? Yes, you can. If you don't want to type it in, you may copy and paste it in there. You'll save it as this document name here. I believe, yeah, you're going to keep it at that all the way down, so that's fine. Then you go through on number 3 and do some margin changes. Number 4, you do some font changes. Step 5, you do some paragraph changes where you have to insert paragraphs. Now here where it says insert a paragraph mark after, how do I do that? If I'm somewhere in a document and I want to insert a paragraph and I'm in a paragraph already and I want to split it up, how do I insert a paragraph? You remember? Yeah, just hit enter. Exactly. Pretty simple, right? But I ask you that because that is a question that comes up. How do I insert a paragraph mark? Because it's in the instructions that way. That's kind of confusing a little bit. And then it tells you to insert paragraphs after different places on this number 5, so just follow those directions. Then you insert a paragraph mark again after 8:00, and then after building, add PM on number 7 after 8:00, 8:00, and then insert a paragraph mark again on 8. Number 9, you're inserting a word. Number 10, you're capitalizing. Number 11, you're reviewing your text and removing any extra spaces that might look weird at the beginning or end. 12, you're adding some blank lines. You're doing some margin changes, centering changes, increasing font. 13, you're doing some italicizing. 14, right align. 15, centering. 16, previewing it. And then after you previewed it, it says here on 16 to preview the flyer to see how it will look when it's printed. 17, close the preview button and remove some of the white space in the flyer before increasing the top and bottom margin to 3.25. Then right align on 18, 19 do a spell check, and then finally save it. The source file is here at the bottom. There's a link that says actually source file example. If you open that up, again, it's just an example. Yours does not have to look exactly like mine, but it should look somewhat close to it. All right, there's a snapshot view of it, what it should look like when you're done. Now, if you wanted to do some different coloring, that's fine, or even different font style possibly, that's fine. Some students in the past have taken this text and done some different things with it, maybe moved it down a little bit further and italicized it. So again, it doesn't have to be exactly like this example. Does that make sense? 100%. That's just what a finished example could look like, all right? And basically what this shows me is you know how to format. There's a number of formatting you're having to do in this. Again, just to show you your paragraph symbols when you're doing this to help you. You can click on this to figure out, okay, where my paragraph symbols are, because there's a number of places that has you add a new paragraph, which is just hitting the enter key basically after a certain text. And that's about it. Once you save it, you're going to submit it to the Dropbox for week 3, which I've had some people already submit theirs. Once that's finished, again, next Tuesday on this one, let me make sure I have the date on that. I think I did. Let me check the calendar. Make sure the due dates are right on that. It's, yeah, week 3, Dropbox and quiz both are next Tuesday, so we're good to go there. All right. So any questions on the take-home? All right. Well, do me a favor before you leave tonight. You don't have to save that document that we worked on tonight. That was just for practice. And just a reminder on these computers, when you shut them down, it deletes all the files. So make sure if you do have any files on this computer, you do put it on a USB thumb drive or email it to yourself. But you don't need to worry about deleting it from the computer. It does it for you when it shuts down. Check your grade before you go if you wouldn't mind, just to make sure everything's okay. I usually ask students to do that this portion of the time we're within the 5 weeks. We're on week 3 to make sure everything's okay. 2 more weeks left. Next week we're going to be covering week 4. We're going to be covering multi-page reports. Week 5 is when you'll actually come in on that final week, and you're going to we're going to do desktop publishing and mail merge together, and that's it. Now the stuff on week 5 will be due Sunday instead of the following Tuesday. That's the only difference as far as due dates. All right. Any questions? Yes.
So we will not be touching at all, just even a single MacBook.
No. No. Not in here. You won't. Nope. Now we do have a intermediate Word class here on campus that does go over macros for probably 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like making a report function, doing something repetitive.
Yeah, I can help you with that and give you some resources to give you for that to help you.
It used to be done 6 versions ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can help you with the new version. Yeah, I can send you some information to help you with that. And I've got some podcasts actually that shows how to do that. If you just send me an email, I can forward that to you. No problem. Any other questions? All right. Well, I'll see you next week, and enjoy the weather while we've got it. And please shut your computers down before you go. Thank you.